Long ago in the land of Judah, there was a young boy named Uzziah, just 16 years old. His life was about to change in ways no one could have imagined. He wasn't just any teenager. He was about to become king. The people of Judah needed a leader. And despite his youth, they saw something special in Uzziah. He was crowned king after the death of his father, Uzziah, who had also been king. It was a huge responsibility for someone so young. But Uzziah wasn't alone. Uzziah was wise enough to surround himself with people who could guide him. One of his closest advisors was Zechariah, a godly man who taught him to seek the Lord's guidance in everything he did. Under Zechariah's mentorship, Uzziah learned to trust God and follow his ways. And because of that, his reign started off on the right foot. With God's help, Uzziah led Judah to many victories over their enemies, the Philistines, the Arabs, and more. He built strong defenses, fortified cities, and made Judah safe. The people loved him. He was a king who not only ruled well but made them proud to be part of Judah. Uzziah wasn't just a strong military leader. He was a visionary. He loved the land of Judah and wanted to make it flourish. He built up agriculture, planted vineyards, and invested in the people's future. Under his reign, Judah grew wealthy and powerful. He even became an innovator. Uzziah hired skilled workers to create advanced machines, large catapults, towers, and defenses that made Judah one of the most fortified nations of its time. It was a golden age, and Uzziah's fame spread far beyond Judah. But something began to change. Uzziah, who had once relied on God for everything, slowly started to believe that his success was all because of him. Pride crept into his heart. Instead of being humble and grateful, Uzziah began to think he could do whatever he wanted, even if it meant disobeying God's commands. His pride grew, and with it, his downfall was about to begin. One day, Uzziah made a terrible decision. He decided to enter the temple of the Lord, something only the priests were allowed to do. He wanted to burn incense on the altar, a duty reserved for the descendants of Aaron. But Uzziah thought he was above the law. The high priest, Azariah, and 80 brave priests hurried to stop him. They warned him, "This is not for you, Uzziah. This is a sacred duty for the priests alone. You're dishonoring God." But Uzziah, filled with pride and rage, refused to listen. He believed that as king he could do as he pleased. At that very moment, as Uzziah held the incense burner in his hand, something shocking happened. Leprosy, an incurable skin disease, broke out on his forehead. The priest saw it and immediately knew this was God's judgment. The priests hurried him out of the temple, and Uzziah himself was terrified. He knew he had crossed a line, and now he would pay the price. For the rest of his life, Uzziah lived in isolation. His leprosy made him unclean, and he could no longer live in the palace, or even be among his people. His son Jotham had to take over ruling the kingdom in his place. Uzziah, the once great king, who had brought Judah to heights of power and prosperity, now lived out his days in loneliness. He had forgotten the most important lesson, that true success comes from God, not from our own strength or pride. Uzziah's story teaches us many lessons. He started his reign seeking God's guidance, and because of that, he succeeded in ways no one could have imagined. But when pride took over, he lost everything: his strength, his throne, even his connection to God. And while we may not be kings or queens, the lesson still applies to all of us. No matter how much we achieve, we should always remember where our success comes from and stay humble. It's when we forget this that we risk losing everything. King Uzziah's story is a reminder: stay humble, seek God, and never let pride take the place of faith. Only then can we truly live life of everlasting success.